Hey guys, welcome back to another episode on Cobra Kai Theory. Today we're going to be going over something that you guys came up with in the comments of my Terry Silver video of the What Will Happen to Terry Silver Now, Cobra Kai Season 5 Explained. I uploaded this video just 4 days ago and you guys flooded the comments with almost 1,000 comments. And I gotta give a shout out to the man who started this thread, and I'm gonna go over a few different theories and we're gonna talk about it because it's actually, I think it's actually real. I think this is actually what happened in the show and is what is going to happen in the show. So Manuel Garcia 2 days ago wrote, "At some point, I thought they were going to reveal Silver was terminally ill because he ran into Johnny at the hospital with no explanation given and later gave lines like, 'Youth is the only thing that money can't buy,' and 'I'm not afraid to die.' Also his motivation to leave his legacy. I think something is going on there." Now I think Manuel is raising a really good point, but there's a few more of you that are chiming in the comments, and this is what I love about the Cobra Kai community, is that you all just build on each other's theories, and it's just so fun to read sometimes. So Manuel Garcia goes on to comment and he says, "After this comment, I went into Cobra Kai subreddit. One dude there posted more hints from season 4 8 months ago. In the 3rd episode, he has a PTSD episode, Terry Silver does, triggered by the culinary torch being used on his creme brulee. He then says he's going to skip breakfast, and the way the hired help reflexively asks if he should call the doctor makes me think his physical health is being closely monitored." Now, if you remember that scene, that's just near the beginning of Cobra Kai Season 4, when John Kreese comes back into Terry Silver's life, and Terry Silver's starting to have these PTSD moments of not just Cobra Kai, but the war as well. Now, I thought it was a little weird that the butler was asking if Terry Silver needs to be seeing a doctor right away just because he doesn't feel like eating. I thought, well, maybe he's just being extra careful or extra cautious or extra polite for his employer. But then upon thinking, it's not really a big deal if you don't eat in the morning, if you're just not hungry. But this would definitely give some credence to perhaps a common theme where Terry Silver is feeling ill, like he's been feeling ill for a long time, and now he was getting a little bit better, but perhaps upon him not being able to eat his breakfast or his meal, perhaps a doctor should be seen. Not Telling goes on to say, "Yes, the writers were showing us that Terrence was already on his way out. They never revealed the health issue, but it was all but stated. Maybe next season they'll dive more into it, but honestly this season seems like a real nice wrap on the entire franchise. The only thing that was missing was Mr. Miyagi voiceover when Daniel kicked the snot out of Silver. That would have been awesome to hear. Good job, Daniel-san." So like that would have been a little bit like a Force Ghost sort of thing. It would have been like Mickey from Rocky 5. I think it would have maybe taken everyone out of the scene a little bit because, well, I don't know, it could have been nice, but I haven't really thought about that too much. However, as for this season being a final wrap on the entire show, I think there's still so much more to be discovered. There's so much more for Peyton List's character, Tori Nichols, to explain the story of her mother, explain her story as well, and beyond that to develop some of the other characters like Kenny, Daniel's son, and everyone else who hasn't had their moment in the sun, as Terry Silver said to Kenny. Now, everyone else goes on to say, "Very good point. I think this is something that we'll visit more in season 6, says Clive55. Jacob says, "That would be such a good storyline." CNM Punk says, "If that's true, it'd be interesting to see if he could truly become a sympathetic villain." Now, that's what I really like about this. So, there's nothing more interesting than a villain that you empathize with. And I think that's something that could happen with Terry Silver if we see that he's actually dying. If the man comes out and he has cancer or something like that, where he has such a finite time left on the planet, then it almost makes it like we understand why he's kind of pushing things to the envelope so much, because he doesn't have that much time left and he's really trying to leave behind his legacy. He's just desperate and going about it, the Terry Silver way, which always ends up with him getting Cobra Kai shirts thrown at him. Now, Anthony says, "I don't think he ran into him. I thought he followed him to the hospital." And so Manuel goes back and he says, "That would be a stretch. If you would watch the scene again, Carmen and Johnny finish their appointment and enter the elevator. The door closes and some time passes. Door opens again and on another floor, and that's when Terry enters the elevator. It has to be a coincidence unless he has a tracker device on Johnny to know exactly where he is in the building to press the elevator button at the right time, which to me is very unlikely. And to me, it's very unlikely as well. There's no way that he's going to see, okay, well, Johnny's about to get in the elevator now, and I'm going to get in the elevator here, and then I'm going to enter at a lower floor. at the precise time that Johnny is descending. And hospitals usually have different elevators, so the fact that he got into that one, I think it's just a coincidence, which is what Manuel goes on to say. He seems more of an unexplained coincidence, and probably the writers leaving breadcrumbs along with other clues they have left since season 4. Edit, just to add that I would go as far as to say Terry is also surprised to run into Johnny, but takes the opportunity to intimidate him as well. So that's the thing about Terry Silver, is that he's always very well composed. He's much older, he's much more experienced, and he doesn't crumble under pressure. Now, if Terry Silver was sick since we've seen him since season 4, then I believe that would give a lot more explanation as to why he lost against Daniel. Now, I gotta go back and redo that Daniel video where why Terry Silver lost to Daniel. I'm gonna make a video on why Daniel won against Terry Silver, why he beat Terry Silver. And briefly, I'm gonna say, whenever Daniel gets in the zone, that's like his ultra instinct. You know, it's like his ultra ego. It's just when he shines. When he's all clouded mentally and he's got some things going on, he's never really a great fighter. He's probably one of the worst fighters. But when things are really sudden death, that's when Daniel always wins. Case in point against Johnny, against Chosen, against Mike Barnes, and then against Silver. So I feel like with Daniel, you just kind of need to be in that sudden death mode where nothing else is left on the table, and at this point, if he loses, then everything will be in shambles and everything will go wrong. Now, going into season 6, I think what's going to happen is we will find out that Terry Silver was perhaps sick. I think in the end, after Silver and Kreese hating each other, they're eventually going to have to team up to fight an even bigger villain. Now, the real threat here is Master Kim, the granddaughter of Kim Sun-young, master of Tung Soo-do, and master of Terry Silver and John Kreese, and basically the one who created the karate behind Cobra Kai. I believe that Master Kim will come back with perhaps an even more formidable opponent in season 6, which I'd like to make a video on in its entirety later on. However, I will briefly say that I believe there will be a much bigger villain in season 6 that will overshadow literally everybody. Like, this will be the Snoke of everything, and hopefully, you know, they won't have like a ridiculously lame death. I think in the end, Terry Silver might sacrifice himself for John Kreese to give sort of a loving send-off. You know, after having done so many terrible things, I think eventually he will probably know that he's dying anyways, and he'll give his life to save John Kreese and perhaps the rest of the Valley in a massive, world-pivoting fight to the death. I think that will eventually involve Johnny, Daniel, Chosen, Mike Barnes, Kreese, Silver, and against, you know, the opposition, whoever they may be. But that's what I think in this video about Terry Silver being sick. I love reading your guys' comments. You guys came up with this theory. I'm merely just talking about it and adding my own little thoughts here and there. So continue to sound off in the comments, and maybe I'll choose some of your comments to make a video on and elaborate and talk about and theorize. I really enjoy this community. Thanks so much, guys, for being a part of it and watching my videos. I hope you have a great day. And until the next episode, remember, pain does not exist in this dojo, does it?